Ever wondered the sense behind the incense? The incense we use at prayers and worship, especially during Mass and Eucharistic adoration. Are you fascinated by the beauty and fragrance of the smoke which emanates from the thurible as the priest solemnly flings it around the altar? Is there any symbolism to this ritual? Any biblical justification? Well, here's what I've discovered. The use of incense in Catholic spirituality and worship is deeply rooted in scripture and tradition. In the Old Testament, God commanded Aaron, for example in Exodus 30, to burn fragrant incense and that he should do so regularly. The book of Psalms depicts incense as a symbol of prayer rising to God, together with the lifting of our hands as an acceptable oblation and sacrifice on heaven's altar. The prophet Malachi tells us of how God's name will be great among the nations, and how in every place incense and pure offerings will be brought to him. The book of Revelation 5 verse 8 tells us of a league of 24 elders prostrated before the Lamb in worship, each one holding a harp and a golden bowl of incense, which are the prayers of God's people. One of the gifts the three wise men offered to the infant king Jesus to acknowledge and reverence the dignity of his divinity was incense. Matthew chapter 2. This shows that the sweet and aromatic fragrance from burning incense creates a unique and profound aura of being in the presence of the divine. When incense is blessed by the priest and is burnt during prayers, it is believed that the fragrant smell that exudes therefrom is as offensive to the devil as it is pleasant to God. The incense spiritually purifies the space where it is burnt, including homes. It consecrates the objects and places it is intended for. It dispels evil forces, it breaks demonic influence, and shields God's children from malicious intent. Be that as it may, the power to dispel evil comes primarily from God, not from the incense itself. Now, here is where it gets more interesting. The deeper appreciation of the sense in the use of incense comes from knowing the main ingredient from which incense is produced. It is the blood of some special select trees with aromatic properties. Incense is gotten as the dried sap or fluid that gushes when a tree is cut or wounded. In Catholic spirituality, this immediately brings to mind the wounded and bleeding body of Jesus hanging on the tree of the cross, as well as the broken nature of Christ's mystical body, the church, which is full of members who are weak and wounded by sin, bruised and broken by flaws and failures. Now, while at Mass, these wounds are collected and taken up by the priest, who in himself is an image of Jesus the high priest, and placed in the coal of divine charity. As the incense melts in the coal, it releases a sweet fragrance which ascends as prayers to the altar on high. This burning symbolizes a complete surrendering of ourselves to God, for him to transform us, to heal and redeem us. In other words, in the rising smoke from the incense burner, Catholic liturgy demonstrates how Christ takes us up and transforms our wounds into worship, our flaws, faults, and frailties into fragrance, our afflictions into adoration, and our brokenness and bruises into beauty. By this burning, our sores and scars are transformed into a sweet scent acceptable to God our Father, just as the sacrifice of Abraham and Abel was, and more so that of Jesus on the cross. God bless you.